if at any time you are not able to hear me or there's a slight disconnection, please let me know quickly. Either you put in the chat box something.
Same goes to the others. If there's if you guys cannot hear it, or if you guys are if it's too far away, the voice, please do chat on the chat box, okay? Just let us know. So as we are waiting for Sir Anthony, I'm gonna share the front screen of the slides.
And how many of you are actually in the organizing committee?
There's actually there's 14 of us.
Okay.
And 9 of us are from Miss DK's subject, and the other committee is from the SRC councils. Yes. So.
And is everyone doing their job well within the committee?
Yes, sir. No worries. Everyone is doing their great job. Everyone is just doing their great job.
Teamwork is important, but of course, I only deal directly with you, but I'm sure the other 13 are also doing the job well.
Yes, of course. They help me a lot. I cannot do this alone without my team. So thank you for my team. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try and share the screen. So Noah, are you in here, Noah?
Yeah, I'm in.
All right. So this is my co-host today. Noah, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, sir.
Hi, Noah.
Yeah, as you know, my name is Noah Simon. Currently studying in. Oh, sorry.
Bukanlah kamera, jangan malu-malu.
Sorry. Wait.
Okay.
Let me just. Okay. All right. Hello, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Morning. All right. My name is Noah Simon, as you know, and currently I'm studying in Diploma in Management in semester 4. So yeah, it happened to be the co-leader for this event. It's such a pleasure to work with Gia and the team, and looking forward to hear your talk, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Is there anything you would like to ask to Sir Noah?
No, not at the moment. Gonna listen to the talk first.
Yes.
Yeah.
So participants, please don't be shy to ask questions. This is your time to ask questions that you are curious, that you really want to know from Sir Badrol, because it's not easy to find. Please take your time. This is the only time that you guys can ask and get the answer from the correct person himself. All right, don't be shy. Just text on the chat box, and the committee will note us, and me and Noah will read the questions. All right. So as we are waiting, hopefully the participant who just entered, you guys have eaten your breakfast. Don't forget to eat your breakfast. Kalau mau makan sambil dengar talk pun boleh juga. And don't be shy to open your camera. It's okay. Okay, as long as kalau kamu mau pakai background pun boleh juga. Jangan malu-malu lah. Don't be shy, everyone.
I can see that Noah is in his jacket now.
Yeah, to look proper.
Teropot.
Oh no.
So, Sir Badrol, I would like to ask you a question. Have you ever been to Sabah?
Yes. The first time I went was actually not many times, but the first time I went was way back, I think 10 years back. That was during my Kinabalu expedition. I went up Mount Kinabalu.
Oh, I see.
Okay. And actually, I love to do that. Last time I was very active, but now, as you can see, I'm getting more prosperous. and now I think after that I went again, but not to climb Kinabalu, but to enjoy Sabah seafood. Okay, which I enjoyed very much. Okay, so the most recent visit was not really a happy one because
Oh.
I was actually there was an accident when I was in the previous company. Someone passed away. He's from Sabah, so I have to actually accompany the body all the way back to that was, I can't remember the place, but it was I have to be in the flight together with the body, in the cargo, and arrive there in Sabah with meeting the families and so on. Okay, but nevertheless, it was the last trip was a very emotional one, but I still took the time to stop by at the seafood to still enjoy Sabah seafood.
So
So
basically,
I think in total I've been to Sabah 3 times.
I see. Well,
I hope to be able to actually be there more, but I didn't get the chance. And I've been to Labuan a few times as well. It's part of Sabah territory, right? But that one
Labuan
is
is wilayah persekutuan Labuan.
wilayah persekutuan in name, but is nearer to Sabah, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yes, sir.
I went there on work related trips.
I see.
Sometimes arriving in the morning and then leaving before 7 o'clock to come back to KL.
I see. Well, funny thing, not funny, but fun fact, I'm actually from Labuan. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's actually the students in MSUC Sabah is actually come from different places. So I am from the island itself. So
Okay.
I'm humbled to meet you. Yeah.
I was with a company called FMC, Technip FMC Technologies at that time. There's a yard in Labuan. The yard is called FMC Technologies yard or something.
I see.
So that was during my time with Technip because the company was actually merging. I have to be there to do some assessment and then a few trips back there to sadly to let some people go. Okay, but that's part of the job in HR. So if I think all of you wanted to be in HR, you have to be emotionally prepared to do all these things. Letting people go, hiring people, and disciplining people, and so on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We have to have the strong will and strong heart because we're dealing with humans.
I would say strong will and a very compassionate heart. Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you know that whatever that you're doing is according to what the company wants, but the next person the person in front of you is still a human being. So you need to have a very compassionate heart in order for you to perform your job well.
Yes, sir. That's correct. I'm guessing that Sir Anthony is on the way, right, Ms. DK? So while we wait, welcome to the participants who just enjoyed. Hopefully you guys have eaten your breakfast. Don't forget to eat your breakfast. It's really important to eat your breakfast so that you guys won't get sick and always be in a healthy position. So I see that Sir Anthony is in the Google Meet already. So I'll pass this next session to Sir Anthony. Are you ready, Sir Anthony?
Hello, good morning.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, can.
Okay,
sir.
all right. So, I continue my sessions. Yeah. Okay. So, salam sejahtera and very good morning to all our beloved student, MSU College Sabah, MSU Management and Science University, and especially to our honorable guests and speaker, Mr. Badrol-Izam Baharom, Senior General Manager Human Resource in Malaysia Marine and Heavy Engineering Holding Berhad, MHD. Very long name. Okay, So I'm sure we are very lucky today because Mr. Badrol willingly to accept our invitations to become our speaker to our event today. Very great events, very related topics to our student, BSCM student, Bachelor in Human Capital, which is the topic is internship matters, interns wants versus supervisor needs. So I'm sure Mr. Badrol-Izam is Badrol-Izam, I'm sorry, very experienced. A lot of knowledge can be shared for today's session. So hopefully our student will take this opportunity to gain the experience and knowledge from Mr. Badrol. And before that, I want to thank you also to our organizer today. Okay, the teams of Bachelor Human Capital Management and SRC, Student Representative Council, because giving me the opportunity to do the opening remarks as a second choice, because I'm sure the first choice is our principal, Mr. Swift Sainan, because but due to his other commitment, so here I am to represent him. But who do the opening remarks? I think it's not the big matters. But the big matters for today event is can we achieve the objective or not? But I'm sure with the experience from Mr. Badrol, which are very relevant to our topic today, there's a lot thing can be achieved. There's a lot thing can be learned by our student, especially students who are taking this course, Bachelor Human Capital Management. And then to all our students, please take note. Okay, please take note all the sharing that and also all the knowledge that shared by our Mr. Badrol, because I think it's very important and can be used as your as a guidance when you go to your internship in the future semester. Okay, so and last, I hope that our event today can be in mode. I say in active mode. Active mode means not only sharing from Mr. Badrol only, but our students also are willing to ask a lot of questions, because this is your opportunity to learn from industry. Because if before this you learn from your lecturer, so maybe a lot of of theories, but now we try to learn from people who practice it. Okay, so I'm sure the learning experience will be different from your lecturer. Okay, so hopefully you guys will ask a lot of questions, and today event or activity will be in active mode. Okay, so I think that's all from me. So once again, thank you to Mr. Badrol-Izam and also to organizer, and hopefully our students enjoy this session. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for the key opening speech. And before we get on to the talk, I would remind for you guys to stay until the talk is finished and don't go anywhere. And please stay until the talk is finished, because at the end of the talk, there'll be a feedback form that will be distributed to you guys. So without further ado, I am going to share the slides that I have received from Sir Badrol, and we can start our session now. And sir, if you to give you a heads up, there's also lecturers from MSU besides Miss DK inside here. So yeah, there are
So
currently
are they going to be grading me?
perhaps in the chat box. They'll be greeting you from chat.
No, I'm talking about grading me.
Oh, grading me! Oh, sorry, I heard that wrong. Well, depends on them.
No, don't worry. I just invite them. Maybe they can share that with
Yeah.
another students.
All right.
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
joking. I
Yeah.
like to joke, so don't worry.
I'm just joking also, so please don't take it. So all right. So I am going to share. Can you guys see the screen? If you guys cannot see the screen, please just tell me through the chat box. Okay.
Okay, I can see the screen, so I hope the rest of you can too.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Please respond, guys, in the chat box. You guys can see the slide.
So hold on.
So Jiha, you're going to put that in the presentation mode?
Yes, sir. Hold on, yeah. All right, so we can start the session now, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Jiha, and also Mr. Anthony for setting up the expectation very high. You're making me nervous because because you're saying that no, I will be presenting something like a lecture or something. So basically, I'm taking this opportunity also as a learning process for myself in order for me to continuously develop, because I think the learning process has no end. You have to ensure that you continuously do something in order for you to learn new things. And talking to you all, sharing my experience is also part of learning process for me. Okay, just a quick introduction on myself. My name is Badrol. Okay, I'm the Senior General Manager of HR. The company, as Anthony aptly put it, has a very long name. Okay, but in short, if you are looking for us in the online, okay, our website is actually www.mhb.com.my. No, we shorten it for people who does not like the long part. Okay, and MMHE started off a very long time ago as Malaysian Shipyard and Engineering. It has gone through several changes and in terms of ownership and so on. And I will quickly in the next slide just show you what our business is all about, so that at least you have some idea. This guy from MMHE is talking about from what kind of background. And MMHE as an operational entity is located in Pasir Gudang, Johor. Okay, we have a yard there, a shipyard as well as a fabrication yard. And I'm actually based in Kuala Lumpur at Daya Bumi, Bangunan Daya Bumi, under MMHE Holdings. If any of you would like to actually contact me after this, you have my email address stated in the slide. And if you want to know more about the company, you can always go to the internet and find out more. Okay, wait, we can go to the next slide.
All right.
Okay, this is on the left part of the slide shows how are we linked with our owners and all that. Okay, actually MMHE as an operating entity, as I mentioned just now, is the one operating in Pasir Gudang. It is a fully owned subsidiary of MHB, and MHB in turn is an entity which has MISC as our majority owner. And as you know, MISC is partly owned by Petronas. So in a way, we are linked to Petronas through ownership, but then basically we are an entity that runs a business on our own. We have to find our own business all over the world. We cannot be relying on our owners. And in fact, we have a shipyard in Pasir Gudang. And as you know, MISC has a lot of vessels passing through the Straits of Malacca and also Johor Strait. But as a service provider to the ships and the vessel, we have to offer something very competitive in order for us to get the business. So there are situations where ships belonging to our parents' company decided to actually turn to Singapore instead of to Johor to get the services because they offer a more competitive package. So we are not guaranteed of the business. We have to find the business on our own. As you can see in the map that I've shown on the right part, those are the countries that we have already ventured into, or the countries where the business comes from. You can see that our clients are actually all over the world. We may not be a well-known brand to maybe students because our brand recognition is more on the businesses that we work with, and that's why we are not a household name. But in terms of, I believe you would definitely know Petronas, you definitely know MISC, and in terms of MMHE, we are more known to the people that we serve. We can move to the next chart. Okay, this is just to show the top left photo is the part of our yard, which is our fabrication yard. On the right, you can see some of the structures that we built for oil and gas industries. On the bottom left, you can also see ships that is being docked at our Pasir Gudang yard. Currently, we have 2 dry docks. We are going to open the 3rd one very soon, before the end of the year, to allow us to have better business capacity. And you can also see the bird's eye view on the bottom right, where the location is. We consider ourselves as one of the biggest employer in Pasir Gudang, Johor. We at any time we employ about 3,000 plus full-time employees and between 1,000 to 4,000 contractors who are working in our yard at any one point. Okay, we can move. Any question about MMG? Maybe not, but if you do have, if you're curious about the company, you can always Google us.
For sure, they'll be saving their questions after the session, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, something like, does MMHE accept internship students?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Okay, can we move to the next one?
Okay.
Okay, throughout the session that I'm sharing with you, I'll be sharing more about myself, okay, because I believe the experience that I had can be shared in part with some of you. At certain point of my life, I've gone through a certain experience that I would definitely like to share with you, which is applicable to the time where you are your first job and throughout your career. And that's the reason I'm sharing more about myself. But along the way, there will be some points or lessons that we can both share. Both parties can be learning on what I have experienced so far. I'm a very old man, so bear with me. The style will be an old man style, but I would like to share my story with all of you so that there may be some things that you can learn and avoid making some of the mistakes that I made earlier on. Okay, if you look at this slide, okay, first of all, this is not the format that I expect you to put in your resume, okay? Because what I'm doing here is to list all the places that I have been educated, okay? But of course, in your CV, please don't put your tadika lah, okay? In fact, I find it very not to say really annoying, but I think distracting for if let's say you are a fresh graduate, you don't even have to put your primary school in your resume. Okay, what is important maybe your secondary school, because your prospect employers may need to know about the subjects that you have taken in school. You are still fresh from the universities, but not all the way to KIDI. But the reason I'm putting this is that I wanted to share with you what I have learned from at each level of my education along the years, and how I have continued to use those lessons all the way until now. Okay, basically I would say that if your concern is very specific today in knowing what are the do's and don'ts during internship period, it actually falls under two categories. Number one, how do you blend in? And number two, how do you adapt to change? Okay, because whenever you go for internship, it is known that you do not have anything much to offer to the employer. But what the employers want to see is how do you actually blend in, and how do you adapt to the changes from being a student to being an employee. So this internship program that you're going through later on would be just a very small window of opportunity for you to give an excuse that I'm still a student, but at the same time to learn more as if you're an employee. And usually you are not being made accountable for any mistakes and so on. So use this opportunity to commit as many mistakes as possible for you to learn in the future. Okay, I know that some internship students would always like to show that they know everything, they cannot be making mistake, but that is the first mistake. Okay, for you not to show your weaknesses, for the host company that you are in to help you to progress. No, you cannot be showing that you know everything. You cannot be showing that you need not learn anything new. Okay, so that's what throughout our 1 hour sharing session, I would say that the most important point that I would like to share at every stage would be how do you blend in and how do you adapt to change. It is very relevant to the topic, and I think let me just start with my when I was 6 years old, many years back. Maybe your parents has not been born yet at that time. Okay, I was enrolled into a kindy called St. Thomas Kindergarten. It was actually part of a church. Okay, I was actually in Alostar. Alostar is basically a Malay town or Malay city now. Okay, I would say that 85% of the population in Kedah is actually Malay Muslim. But I don't know why my parents decided to actually send me to a kindy which is part of a church. However, I'm grateful to my parents because they did this move, because that helps me from the beginning to appreciate the multiracial community that we have. I'm very blessed not to go to just an educational institution that has only one group of race or religion and so on. Okay, but there are times coming in my later years that I've been in that kind of environment, but having been a starting point, getting to know people of a different faith, of a different races and culture helps me a lot when I start in this kindy. Okay, I know even as a Malay, when we start, before we even start having our breakfast or starting our classes in the morning, the sisters at the church would be reciting some prayers. But again, for me, I blended in. I don't say that, I do not want to be part of this. It's just that while they were just like holding their hands like that, I was holding my hands like this, and I was. That's what my parents taught me. You be part of it. You are still answerable to the same God. So I managed to get to know a lot of friends from a different faith. And then, but still back home, I still have to go for my Mukaddam Quran lessons. Still have to go to masjid for prayers and so on. So it doesn't change me as a person, but it gave me a bigger understanding of what multiracial, multi-religious is all about. And then, okay, that's the reason I'm putting my kindergarten list or in my learning path there. Just to share with you that it is something that give us an opportunity to learn more about others. And then I moved to my primary school from standard 1 to standard 6 in a school called Sekolah Rendah Iskandar. I'm not sure whether you know the history of the school, but it's one of the oldest primary school in Alostar. It was actually it was founded by the father of our former Prime Minister Tun Mahathir. Okay, his name was Master Muhammad Iskandar. He was teaching in College Sultan Abdul Hamid, which is where the primary school is located. So, but one thing that I learned here is that we are all from different background, religions and all that, but it's an all-boys school. So my first primary schooling was in an all-boys school. I was not socially exposed to the other gender. So maybe at that point I was like a bit, we don't know what the girls are doing in the other school. Luckily I have in my house I have two sisters. I'm the youngest one, so I learned about the other gender through my sisters. Okay, so but basically when I was in that school, my father was a teacher. He taught in other schools in Alostar, but before I left the school, he was in Iskandar school. We were living in the teachers' quarters, part of the College Sultan Abdul Hamid Alostar, which is where the school is located as well. So I was like, that is my kampung, that is my school. I just walk like 500 meters to get to my class. Sometimes during recess time, I can just run back to my house to get some food, or if I forgot certain books. So I was like within the compound of the school. But when I was, when I moved to the secondary school, I was taken away from my family into a boarding school in Maktab Rendah Saimara Kulim. Okay, there's a lot of adaptation that I have to do then. First of all is from an all-boys school, now we are going to co-ed, there are girls sitting next to me in class and all that, so you feel very weird, but that's how you learn at the beginning of life. Okay, and then it was also the first time I was being away from my family. So from a situation where during recess time I can always go back to my house to get something, I'm far away and I can only meet my family, like once a month maybe, or sometimes twice. So that's a big change for me, for a 12-year-old boy, being away from your family, having to be independent. And another thing that I was exposed to is since Maktab Rendah Saimara is under MARA, so in my batch of about 250 people, there are only 2 non-Muslims. Okay, the rest of us are all Malay Bumiputra Muslims. I can still remember the two guys. One is Johnson Kayok from Sarawak. The other one is Wendy Dunstan, also from Sarawak. The rest of us are all Malay Muslim. So I was actually brought into a community of just one race, one religion. But again, the reason I'm raising the race and religion matter here is not that I wanted you all to be judgmental on whether you should be racist, nationalist, or the other way. But I think it helps you to understand, okay, from many perspectives, why certain people do certain things. Okay, so it as I said, this should be a learning process within this 1 hour that I'm talking to you and you are talking to me. A point that you should remember, let's say when you are making a decision to go for your internship, for example, or to start your first job, should not be into a community where you are so used to, because then it's not going to help you to try further. It's not going to help you to show that you are a better person. You are in your very comfort zone. Okay, everyone is the same. Everyone is alike. Whenever you mention something, everyone understands. No, you don't have to put extra efforts to make people understand you. Okay, so if you ever had the opportunity to choose which company for you to join, try to avoid going to a company that, I don't know, if you are Sabahan and you know that this is where, like, a company that hire about 90% of the Sabahan, or this is the company I want to be in. Okay, because that does not open your mind, that does not provide you with the opportunity to show the best, because you're all alike. There is no diversity in your community, and that's what I learned in MRSM or Mata Rendah Sains Marakulim. Okay, and then but the only thing, there are times when for example, I wanted to be an architect. Okay, at school, okay, when I was in primary school, I think everyone wants to be someone in the military. You want to be an askar, no? You want to be a jet fighter pilot and so on. But when I go to secondary school, my thinking changed a bit. So I wanted to be an architect. I thought that I'm a very artistic person who can contribute a lot to the world of architecture. But the problem with Mata Rendah Sains Mara is that they only offer science subjects. That means at SPM level, you have to take biology, chemistry, physics, and so on. There's no arts or lukisan subjects that was offered, but that is a prerequisite for you to actually enroll into an architecture course. At that time, there are only two, either in UTM or ITM. Okay, so what we did, people who are my other friends, okay, we proposed to the school that we wanted this subject to be introduced, because we wanted to take it in SPM as an additional subject. It sounds like okay, because we will be learning about arts and all that outside our normal class hours. We will be, the school has agreed to actually bring in a tutor for us to learn more about that and to prepare ourselves for the exam. But the hindrance that we have is that we can only take 9 subjects at a time. I have to drop one. And the only subject that I can drop, okay, I have already dropped. We can choose at Form 5 whether to sit for history or geography. So I dropped history because I don't like to read a lot. Geography is better because in the books there's always pictures about other countries and all that. So I've already dropped one. The next available subject for me to drop is Pengetahuan Agama Islam. Okay, and when all of us, I think there are only 8 of us who decided to drop that subject. It's a big hoo-ha, because okay, we were being judged. Our faith is being judged for not taking Agama Islam in SPM. But I was telling my friends that the rule is that we still have to learn Agama Islam all the way until the end. We have to actually take prior to SPM, there's a trial exam. We still have to take the trial exam. It's just that we don't sit for the SPM. And in fact, I was challenging my friends or some of the teachers even who feel that I should not be dropping that from my SPM. But to make the long story short, we did. But I get good grades in my trial exam for Agama Islam. So I've proven to my teachers that no, I'm not dropping it because I'm dropping my religion. It's just that I'm focusing on my future. And it doesn't mean that if I don't have Agama Islam in my SPM certificate, I'm a less Muslim. I can always learn about it outside school, and it's an ongoing learning process. So at that time, all of us dropped the subject, but it doesn't stop us from learning and from preparing for exam. But we have one additional subjects to take, which we enjoyed very much. And for me, it's something important if I were to pursue my further education, tertiary education in architecture. So that's what I learned. It's just that I think if you are in a very just a community that focus on only one religion or one belief, these are the type of things that you tend to face. Okay, and that's the reason. Okay, I'm not a liberal-minded person. Okay, but at the same time, you have to be realistic in whatever that you decide. And I was fortunate to have that thinking at that point, because that set the path for me going forward. And also luckily for us in MRSM, we were taught to be independent. We were taught to challenge the establishment and all that. And I think one of the result of this different teaching in MRSM is that we are able to actually challenge even the norms at that point. Okay, and then so I wanted to pursue my studies in architecture. I managed to get in. My results are not straight A's, okay, but then I managed to get into now UITM. It was called ITM quite some time back. I didn't pass the UTM interview, so I said, okay, I'm going to be an architect. I'm going to enroll in this. This is what I want. I went into ITM, which is also another establishment with 100% Bumiputra institution. Okay, which I find very, I don't know, I may be the type of person who has been exposed to other things earlier on in my life. I find it as if I'm not opening my mind enough, you know. But then after about less than 2 months in ITM, I chanced upon an opportunity where I think at that point there are some Petronas is offering a scholarship, and there may be some non-takers of the scholarship. So maybe I'm in the second option, like what Anthony mentioned just now. He was also a second option, right? So I was a second option where Petronas approached me and say, okay, we are offering you a scholarship, but you have to move out of whatever that you're doing now. We are sending someone to US, and you have to start your English course and all that immediately. All of my friends who were offered in the first round attended the English course and also they call it American degree program at Kuantan. I think there's one place in Kuantan. But because I was the second round student, they sent me to College Damansara Utama. I was not part of the first batch. There are only 4 of us who enroll into KDU on scholarship. The rest of the people are actually paid for by their parents, you know. And at that point, there are not many private colleges. So you are actually rubbing shoulders with all the sons and daughters of millionaires and well-known people. So the four of us, I'm the only one from Petronas. The other three is from Bank Negara. Are the only ones that have to walk to school, whereas the others are either in motorbikes or driving a car. Okay, but and also I'm not sure whether you know, College Damansara Utama is basically about 90% Chinese. Okay, I mentioned Chinese, Indian, and so on, but I think not in the racist point of view, but majority of them are Chinese. I look at it as my opportunity to stand out, being one of the very few Malays around. There are more Indians than Malay. There are more international students than Malay, and that allows me to start putting myself a higher benchmark, and that also start to give me the belief that in order for you to strive further, you have to have a more challenging environment. Okay, so you can see that from being in the 100% Bumiputra institution, I'm now being the minority in the school that I went to. So, but one good thing is that my experience in College Damansara Utama is that I start to know a lot of international students, people from China, Japan. In fact, I have a few Japanese friends that is learning English from me. I become a peer tutor for the college because I don't know, maybe my English is slightly better than them. So I earn money. Okay, I get like 20 ringgit per hour doing that, which is a big amount of money at the time. So in the process, I also make a lot of friends internationally. There are people from Pakistan. So you learn about not just the Malay, Chinese, Indian, Kadazan, Dusun, and things like that. You also learn about people in the international. That is the first time that I learned that not all Indian people and not all Hindus are actually celebrating Deepavali. Okay, so I was like trying to greet my friend. Okay, happy Deepavali. What are you doing and all that? But they said no, I don't. No, that's when I know. And that's also, I think, one of the times that during Christmas you normally at that point you normally do big posters to wish people and all that. There's no internet yet at the time. No? So you do posters, you draw, and when I wrote the word Christmas with an X, X-M-A-S, I think we're quite used to that, right? Some of my Christian friends are offended because they say that the X actually signify the cross that Jesus Christ was on, and you should not be celebrating that with an X. No, so you have to write it in the proper way of C-H-I-R-S-T-M-A-S. So that's the first time I knew about it, but it's good that I was exposed to that. I know that some of my friends, even until now, they don't understand that. Okay, and they thought that it's okay for you to do certain things because they were from the same community. I do have a friend who completed 4 years studies in the United States, but still wearing baju kurung and talking in Kelantan dialect when she comes back. Okay, so I don't know what's the point of spending 4 years overseas when you're just around your community and you don't learn anything from the outsiders. I'm not asking you to throw away your identity, to not being religious and so on, but at least take the opportunity to learn new things. Okay, and that's what I think talking to the crowd now today with you all in Sabah is not so much different because I think you are more open than people in Semenanjung. Okay, but if I were to talk to someone even in the last time I was in MSU Shah Alam, I was in UM and all that, when they go out, they still go out in cliques of Malays, Chinese, and Indians. Their circle of friends are still around either the same race or the same religion, which I think you all in Sabah has progressed much better. No, so keep it up. learn from each other. That's the only way all of us can actually live in harmony. Not to say that we are being racist and all that. You identify the other races. You identify the beliefs and the the religions and all that, but live with it. Okay, don't run away from it. All right. So far, any questions?
Yes, sir. Actually, there's a lot of questions that's been inside the chat box. So I'm gonna
Okay,
ask
maybe-
the first question. Yeah, sir.
Maybe you can just ask a few first.
Yeah, I'm gonna proceed for the first question is what is the most important soft skills for the student to master?
Okay, as I
By
said,
Faria.
when a lot of people are saying that in order for you to be successful in your career, you need to have leadership skills and all that. Okay, but as a student going into your first job or going to your internship, you are not expected to be a natural born leader. You are not expected to be the someone at the managerial level, but you do need to have certain leadership skills. Okay, and leadership skills is also a soft skills that you go to the employers that why do they have to actually hire you over the other person, and are you going to be a good hire in the long run? Because eventually you need to be promoted to a level where you need to manage, supervise, or lead people. I'm not saying that you should be showing that you are being bossy, okay? But you need to naturally be a leader. For example, whenever there's a situation that no one else wanted to do certain tasks, okay? For you to volunteer to do the task is actually showing a good leadership, because leaders don't allow things to not happen in the team. Okay, and when other people are not interested in doing that thing, I'm not saying that you always volunteer to do the photostat work or to do the basic make coffee for your boss all the time. That's not showing leadership qualities. But there are some difficult tasks or the tasks that people are trying to avoid that you should volunteer and do. Okay, that shows the first step of leadership skills. And again, I'm going back to my point that when I started earlier on, you have to, the soft skill is to know how to blend in. And that's the reason I have not gone into the points of do's and don'ts in internship, but more sharing my experience, because I think the part where you need to blend in is very important. Because I have a choice. When, for example, I was telling you all about attending KDU, where there are 90% Chinese population there. I can just make a choice of not blending in, study very hard, and get out of there as soon as possible. Once I finish off all my studies, where all my credits can be transferred to the US universities, I can make that choice. But instead of doing that, I made another choice to actually blend in, to understand more, because in the end, even though I didn't realize it at that point, it helps me a lot in my future work. It helps me a lot in dealing with the other races and the people of the other nationalities and so on. So it may be a choice that it was not done obviously at that point, but then it helps. So what I'm trying to do now is to share with you, so that some of you may not be thinking, very far ahead of why you need to blend in whatever opportunity that you're given. Okay, because sometimes you cannot choose. Like in my case, I didn't choose to be. I would prefer to be in ITM or in Mara, where all my friends are there. Okay, I didn't choose to be here. Sometimes in your case also, when you when you go for internship, you didn't choose for that placement. Okay, but make the most out of it. Blend in. Make sure that you understand the differences in genders, in people who are at the older age and all that, to understand how do you maneuver your way throughout your career. I think that's the most important soft skills, which is to blend in. Okay, but not to camouflage and make people don't see you at all. Okay, you need to be visible in order for you to move up in your career. Does that answer the question? Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully it does. So do you still need more questions, or do you want to continue to the next slide?
Okay, maybe I can quickly just mention about my experience in university.
Sure.
Not so much. I'll do it very quickly. But again, I was from KDU to US University. I was out of my comfort zone. But I know a lot of my friends were applying to universities where there are many of us applying, or there are many seniors are already there. But I went to a place where there are only 2 Asian students. One is Malaysian, myself is Malaysian, and another one Singaporean. And I try to avoid being a community where you have so many of the same kind around. Okay, basically because I wanted to learn new things. I wanted to be able to understand the culture better. Okay, so I was there, but the only other big challenge that I had to face is that I'm far away from my family, and at that point, my father was quite ill. He has some heart problem, always going in and out of the hospital and all that, and I'm not around. And my other worry is that if anything were to happen, I don't think I can afford to come back to Malaysia. So because of that, what I did was to instead of just focusing full time on studying, I also work part time. I work in a fried chicken place as a cook, as a waiter, and then I was doing a lot of other things, working in convenience store and all that. So because I wanted to save some money, just in case I need to come back. But in the end, I don't actually need to use the money because I came back after I finished my studies. It's just that because my father passed away when I was back in Malaysia, I did not return to US to continue at a master's degree, where most of my friends are continuing there. They got a job there, they continue further studies. So I came back with a degree with an exposure of a lot of things rather than just going there to learn and to study and not doing anything else. I work, I blend in, and I came back thinking that, okay, what I maybe forgot to tell you, when I took up the Petronas scholarship, I could not actually pursue my studies in architecture. I have to select an engineering subject because they're only sponsoring students on engineering studies. So I took the least engineering subject, which is gas technology and plant management. So so there's some sort of management there. But during this time where I was like working and all that, I realized that what I really enjoy is actually working with people. Okay, so I came back with an engineering degree, but I do not want to be an engineer. Okay, so I will continue with when I move to my career path later on. But let me just continue with my other 2 more institutions where I obtained my certification in talent management from Penn State University. I did not actually go and study again in the US. It was actually, most of the studies was done in KL. But I was living in Kedah at that time. I was already having a family. I was out of school. I have finished school about 15 years. Okay, so the blending in part is more actually getting you back in the learning mode, education mode, and then I have to travel. I have to cope with my family is being back in my hometown. I have to travel during the weekend to attend classes. Sometimes, 5-day stretch. And then at the same time, it's a good thing because after working for 15 years, I thought that I have known everything. But when I continued my study, there's a lot of things for you to discover. So I'm glad that I decided to continue because as the saying, sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you open your eyes in a different way, and then only you know there's so many things that you need to learn. And then at the same time, that study also requires me to become an intern again, okay, at the age of, 30 plus, okay, and I was working with with an American company in Malaysia, a factory. So I requested for an internship in the main factory in South Carolina. So I report to a manager who's more junior than me, younger than me, just for me to be able to complete my papers. So I did that, and I think becoming an intern is not just an option for you after you finish your studies before you start work. No, it also happened to me, even though it's just for 2 months, but it was an experience that I went through again after being, I even have uban on my head already by that time. Okay, but I still an intern reporting to someone more junior. So don't stop yourself from learning. And then again, most recently, I actually obtained my certification from MIHRM. It's a small group of students. There are only about 8 of us, 2 drop out, only 2 make it to the final stage when we receive our scrolls. But then that is also another challenge where you are juggling your workload. At that time, I was working in KL, but I have to make frequent trips in the Southeast Asia on the regional basis. I have to actually visit a project in Pengerang like 2 weeks in a month. So juggling that, my family is also asking for some of my time and all that, and you're doing something. And then also the diversity in the course is that I have someone who's very junior, very fresh, just about 3 years experience. I have someone who has already retired, okay, in the same class. So you learn to blend in, and you start your network, okay, either to help people or to get some help from your network. So those are my learning path and my journey. I know that we don't have that much time, otherwise we will lose a lot of other slides. Let's move to the next one. We are just at the first real slide.
All right, so I'm going to proceed to the next slide, yeah?
Okay, to quickly explain to you, I have so far put my career phases into 3 different phases. The first phase is the first almost 10 years where I was in the hospitality. I came back from the US with an engineering degree, but at the time, Petronas somehow gave us an option that if we were to opt out and able to get a job, we can request for a release. So I did that. I joined a hotel industry because based on what I have done prior to that graduation, I feel that I like to work with people. So being in the hotel industry allows me to actually interact a lot compared to if I were to become an engineer. Because usually the first few years of being an engineer, you'll be facing the AutoCAD, doing some drawings, doing some basic technical things rather than meeting people. And also another motivation for me is that my girlfriend at that time was in the hotel. So there was a romantic influence. Okay, so but again, it makes sense because I like dealing with it, and I want, my girlfriend at that time was in Langkawi, so I just that was my first time being in Langkawi, so I went there, go around and look for a job in the hotel. If you see my CV, I started as an HR officer, In fact, actually, the job title was HR secretary. Okay, in a hotel called the Lima Resort. The hotel is non-existent anymore, but at that point it was a newly built hotel. In the record, I think 3 months. Within 3 months, they built the hotel for Lima exhibition in Langkawi. So that was my first job. But what I did not actually put in my CV is that I started off with that hotel as a linen attendant. That means the guy who goes around driving a golf buggy, because it's a resort hotel, going from room to room, collecting all the soiled linen, put in the buggy and bring it to the laundry. I did that for the first 2 weeks, and the opportunity in the HR department came in, and I asked for that. They said, "Oh, this position is actually a secretary, HR secretary position. We are looking for a female candidate." But I said, "No, I can do whatever that female or a secretary can do. Let me try." So I took it up, but I think my boss decided that he does not want to call me a secretary. He called me an HR officer. Okay, but I'm just doing supporting the bosses and all that. That was my first job in HR, and I have been in this career of HR since then until now. Okay, so but what I would want to share with you is that number one, I know that I mentioned that I have other kind of motivation for joining the hotel, for being near to someone that I want to be near with. But I didn't choose my job. But because I did not choose that job of a linen attendant, I managed to get an opportunity to find my first footing in the HR career. If I decided not to take up that linen attendant position because I'm an engineer, maybe I will look for a technician position or something. I may not be where I am now. Okay, that was my first step into HR, and I think I'm not sure whether you are aware. Most hotel has this principle that they always bring in elevate someone from inside. So if I were to apply from outside, I won't get that job. But because I'm already an employee of that hotel, even though at a very lowest position, I was considered. So my advice to you is that sometimes you have to take one step backwards in order for you to move several steps forward. Okay, and don't choose your job just because you feel that that's not up to certain status that you expect. Because sometimes that's the key that opens the door for you. Okay, but I'm not trying to tell you is don't go for the lowest job if you can get a better job. Okay, but sometimes you know that the job market now is very tight. It's difficult. A lot of people are getting retrenched, and it's very, very difficult for you as a fresh graduate to even get entry level positions. So you have to strategize. How do you want to actually enter the job market? Okay, you have another 1 whole year to think about it. You have some opportunities to be part of an organization through internship. So you have to make that opportunity work for you. Okay, so as I mentioned, I was in the hospitality industry for about 10 years. And then I was headhunted to join an American manufacturing company in Kulim, Kedah. That is like going back to where I was studying before. I feel very, comfortable with the place, but you're talking about a different industry. I have been in the hotel industry for about nearly 10 years. Now I'm moving into a manufacturing industry. But the rationale of the GM of that factory at that point is that he told me, he's a British, he told me that he's trying to find someone outside the manufacturing industry, okay, to head the HR function. because he wanted to have some fresh ideas. Okay, and what fresh ideas you can have from someone who has been in the hotel industry. So I took the challenge. There's a lot of learning or relearning to be done in a factory, but some of my technical background helps. So I ended up with the same company for about 10 years. Okay, and my career path at that point was actually to go into the general management of the factory. I've already done a lot of my studies and my learning in the technical part until I was again enticed and offered to join the oil and gas industry. So I have been in 3 or 4 companies, depending on how you look at it, in oil and gas. I started with Technip, and then Technip merged with FMC to become what you know now as Technip FMC. Is an oil and gas engineering company. And then I was seconded to Petronas for their rapid pengerang project for about 2 years. And then I joined Sapura Energy. It's a homegrown local company which operates internationally, globally, before I recently joined MMHE. So this is my phase 3 of the career in oil and gas. I don't know what's next. Maybe becoming a lecturer one day, joining MSU Sabah. I like the food there. Okay, but basically what I'm saying is that even either at the beginning of your career or at the middle, is my mic turned off just now?
Yeah, I think it was the connection again.
I think someone accidentally pressed it.
Was I speaking for the last half an hour without you listening, or
No.
for the moment?
It's just for a moment just now.
Okay, so that was my career journey. Enough about me. Let's move to the next point that I wanted to actually share with all of you today.
So I'm moving on to the next
Yeah,
slide.
you move to the next slide.
All
Yes.
right.
Okay, let me tell you the types of employers that hire intern. Okay, this is what I actually gather in my experience. I know that some companies they're just looking for cheap laborers. I hope there's no Bangla here in this call, but I think they look at this at you students, interns as Bangla workers. Okay. Where you are easy to control because once you get the placement, you cannot run away. Basically, I think you have to finish off your 3 months or 6 months internship program, and then they have no accountability for your development because they know that after 3 months you are going away, and then you can be asked to do anything, all right? And you are cheap. Okay, I don't know. Have you come across some companies that don't even pay allowance? I know of some of my colleagues that just have this kind of philosophy that when you are learning, you should not be paid. You should be learning for the passion of learning, and that's why there's no allowance for interns. But at the same time, they are trying to save costs. Okay, so this is the first category of the company. The second category would be the companies that have a real assignment, real job to be done, but they only need temporary resources. When I was in Technip, we do bring in some engineering students as interns because we have certain projects that we have to clear very quickly due to the request from the client, and because of that, we bring in like 30 interns to help. Okay, in this type of companies, you do get you learn because it's a real job, and you can even actually put it as a part of your resume because you can always say, okay, I've worked with this Santos project for these clients, or I've worked with Shell project and things like that. Okay, so you are actually able to learn, but it's just a one-off touch and go type of assignment. They may not even have intention to hire you in the future because the company always need to bring in someone with minimum, let's say, 3 years of experience. So as a fresh graduate, you stand no chance. But you can actually be inside the organization, learning what any employee would learn. I think in terms of having a continuity of getting the job offer after that may not be there. Okay, and then you also have some other companies like I know of a company like Leo Burnett, an advertising company. That's because my daughter was in Masscom and she wanted to actually join Leo Burnett on internship quite some time back. She's now already working, but during her internship, when she applied for the role, they already have a project for her. They already assigned a client for her, and they really have a very good modular program for you to learn. There are also companies like KPMG, the big four consulting companies, companies like Petronas, that has a very good systematic internship program. So this is where you can actually gain, because I know that interns in Petronas will have to do some presentation all the way to the maybe board of directors. Okay, if you are given certain tasks of presenting some new ideas and so on, so you get all those opportunities. But the reason I'm sharing this with all of you is that the point is, if you're looking for a placement, you have to consider this aspect. Don't just, I don't know, when you go for your internship later, what is the main reason? Is it because MSU dictates that in order for you to graduate, you have to go for internship? Or you have other reasons, Because I know that when I spoke to some of the interns, you answer to yourself, you don't have to tell me. But when I asked some of the internship candidates, they were saying that, since the first line in your cover letter states that this is a requirement of the course, right? You should not be saying that, okay? You should actually, at least in your heart, okay? You should be telling yourself, I'm doing this not because it's a requirement of my course, because I want to learn, because I want the opportunity to network and maybe have some opportunities for me when I am ready to enter the job market. Don't say just because I want to graduate, I need this internship. That gives a wrong idea, and you are actually attracting those looking for cheap labors. Okay, those companies would want to take you in because they know you have no choice. If you don't go for this internship, you cannot graduate. So they will just offer you something that just for the labor for the 3 months. You don't learn anything at the end of the day. Okay, so consider this aspect of what type of employees they hire intern. How do you want to do that? You ask around. You ask your seniors who have attended the internship before. No, you even can interview the employer, call them, ask them about those things. You can make use of your lecturers' connection to also find out more. You try to contact people, family members who have been in that company. Ask them, okay, do you have any interns in your company? What do they do every day? If they say that, I have very good intern, they bring in kueh and coffee every day. So that may not be the company that you want to be in. Okay, and sometimes even big brands, even companies with well-known brands may not be suitable. Again, is someone clicking off my mic, or I'm doing it on my own?
Is someone messing with the mic?
Is it messing with my mic, or I'm somehow touching something?
I think it's
Yeah, I think it was an accident. Maybe they accidentally muted.
Okay. Or they don't want to hear what I say.
I'm so
Okay.
sorry, sir.
Okay, where were we? I was actually telling you just now that okay, you have to qualify the employers that you want to go for internship before you actually go. Don't just ambil tangkap muat, some people say, right? Don't just simply do it for the sake of I nak habis, I nak graduate, because first of all, you have to ask yourself, why do you want to graduate? Because you want something that will help you in your future careers, a paper qualification. Okay, but if that paper qualification does not come with the right networking that you are able to meet people that you are meeting during the internship program, the right skills that you acquire and all that, then if you will fail during the interview, you will fail during your probationary period and so on. So this first step of deciding which company you should be joining as an internship host for you is very important. Okay, some students don't care about this. They just go, and then especially the smaller companies, the better, because no, you can just do whatever you want, no bosses to supervise you and so on. So be very be very particular in selecting the companies. Okay, does that help in terms of understanding which type of employers that you should be joining?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we can move to the next one. Yeah.
All right. On to the next one.
You still have not changed?
It's not changing. Wait, I have to. All right. Can. Sir. Okay, is it changing, sir?
It's changing now.
All right.
You move on. Okay, now we're talking about the expectations of the employers, right? Again, when you have decided where to actually start your internship, okay, you have to understand most employers have certain expectations. What I'm sharing with you is just a general one, but you have to clarify, make sure that you actually understand what is expected of you. But I think the most important one, don't take this as something like a summer job, something like a part-time job. No, treat your work as if that's a real job for you, because even though you don't notice it, but the employers are actually looking at you to see whether you can be hired in the future. They may not have the vacancies at the moment, but you have to make sure that you show some sort of spirit that they know that, okay, if I need to hire someone in 2 years' time, this is the person that I want to hire. Okay, because he treats his job like even though he's an intern, but he took the responsibility and treat the job like his real job. Another thing is employers normally expect you to have the keenness to learn, because we won't know what you need to learn. You have to show whether you are interested in learning a certain thing. You have to ask questions. Not like every single minute you ask one question, are we there yet, and things like that. Okay, but then you ask the right question to show that okay, number one, people know that you're a student, people know that you don't know much. Okay, but if you show that you don't need to ask, no, it's showing a character that no, the job is not important for you. Okay, and the third one, I mentioned there, good attendance and punctuality. If you have to be there for 3 months, make sure that you attended the job every single day, not to be late, because that is your first impression. That is your first opportunity to show how good you are going to be if you are going to be hired later on. Okay, if during internship you are making relax, hari ni datang, esok nenek sakit, lusa kucing sakit, and so on. Okay, even though I'm stuck with you for another 3 months, after that 3 months, I'm going to wash my hands and say, no, I'm not going to touch this person's CV afterwards. Okay, so another thing is to be professionally responsible. Okay, what I meant by being professionally responsible is that if you don't know, you say you don't know. If you need clarification, you say so. If you cannot be early tomorrow because of some personal commitments, you let your supervisor know earlier. If, let's say, you have some problems moving on, completing certain assignments, share with whoever that you need to share. Those are the characteristics of people who are professionally responsible. You don't hide everything until the last minute and say, I cannot finish it because of this problem, because of that person, and so on. Okay, being professionally responsible starts from internship, because that sets the path going forward. Okay, so do that. Be open. Provide your feedback openly is another way of showing that you are interested. Okay, but of course you have to be diplomatic and tactful. Okay, there are some feedback that you cannot be telling your boss, hey, I don't like the color of the shirt that you're wearing today, before, even though it's openly, you don't like it. Sakit mata lah tengok you pakai, macam ni. So those are the things that you may want to treat very diplomatically. But if there are certain feedbacks, don't just because you are an intern, you say, oh, it's not my place to provide this feedback. Give it openly, give it from the point of view of an intern. We don't expect you to be a mature employee's feedback, okay? Because feedback can come from different angles. And sometimes your boss, the boss has been listening to just one side of the feedback. Getting to know from you will give a fresh perspective, okay? And then the next one is to be flexible and agile, which means that, of course, I always make a joke of interns are just making photostat copies, photostat and copy, okay? So it's copy and coffee. But sometimes you have to be flexible. You cannot be saying, oh, I was brought into the HR department as an intern. Why should I be doing a job for an accounts clerk checking certain claims from the employees? This is not an HR job, so being an HR intern, I should not be doing that. So you have to be slightly flexible, because look at it from a learning perspective, okay? Some people may not get the opportunity to learn, but you are given the opportunity, okay? And be agile. That means if, let's say, today you're doing something and tomorrow you're asked to do certain things, because of the short duration that you're there, sometimes employers won't be giving you just one task to be done from the first day to the last day. Okay, you may be given certain additional tasks along the way. So be agile in terms of your ability to plan your work, plan your time, and so on. And the third one is not to be calculating. As you notice, the first 6 points that I put are all positive points, but being not calculating, I cannot find a positive word to replace it, so I put it as not calculating as the word, as the phrase. Okay, but I think it makes very clear sense. You don't say that, okay, if I were to do this, what do I get in return? In a nutshell, that's what I meant. Okay, and calculating in the sense that if I were to do this, is it going to be not seen as what? Okay, you have to be very honest in the work that you do, without thinking that, okay, I know that earlier on I was saying that you have to strategize, you have to know that this should be something, but keep it to yourself. Don't say that, oh, I'm not going to do that because it's a waste of my time. Okay, so try to be not calculating, try to be not being political about accepting the assignments that you're supposed to do, and that is you are going to be appreciated by the employer. And basically, I have seen a lot of instances where supervisors see all this expectation being met by the interns, even in some school where you have to go back and continue 1 semester or 2 semesters after the internship. Some supervisors are willing to wait for you to graduate and offer you afterwards, So because they have already seen you from these qualities. And again, when I say these are employers' expectation for an intern, it is actually applicable when you work full time afterwards. Okay, this is not just applicable for internship program. If you are starting a new job, if you are joining a new company, this is what your employers are going to be expecting from you. So you can keep this going forward, and this will be something that will help you to move forward smoothly in your career. Any questions so far?
Yes, sir. There's a question. So, can you guys hear me? Okay. So Noah,
Yeah.
can you want to ask questions?
Yeah, hi sir. This based from the chat box, we have a few questions. The number one is from Salvarius. Okay, I got your name right. Sorry. Hi sir, I have question based on your career journey. What the factor to focus on when we start to choose the company for our internship? And that's the first one. Second one, sad reality, but mostly interns always get bullied every time they work in the company by the so-called seniors. How do we make sure that this won't spoil our performance as intern in the working realms?
Okay,
I think
I will answer the first question, but I think the second question, when I move to the next stage of my presentation, I will cover that in terms of bullying in the workplace and so on. Okay, but okay, when you ask me about what are the factors that I personally choose when I did internship, I put my passion as the first thing. I always put my passion as the most important thing in life. Okay, if I were to join a company or I were to do something which I'm not passionate of, I might as well just not do it at all. Okay, so when I choose the company, or I don't have that much choice, but when I look into the company that I want to focus on applying for my internship, I will be looking at what the company has to offer, and for me, the more interaction that I can have within that company, in terms of let's say the job reports to, for example, I give an example of an HR. Okay, you have the section that you can join, whether compensation and benefits, industrial relations, and so on. Okay, so if I believe that being in industrial relation will allow me to have more interaction with people, and that's where my passion is, I will go for that. Okay, so even when first you choose the company, and then you choose within the company what can actually you get. Some companies are telling you, okay, you're going to be rotated, but it depends. No, if let's say your internship period is just only for 3 months, being rotated everywhere may not be a good thing also, because you're not visible, you may meet a lot of people while you are on rotation, but you may not be significant. Okay, so be careful in selecting that. And also, I also mentioned earlier on, if you notice, what are the things that you should do before you decide on the company. But I would say, if you ask me, that will be something that jive with my passion, that for the next 6 months that I'm doing internship, I will be enjoying myself, okay, doing the job. Is that okay? Can we move on?
yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah, sure. Carry on. Hope that.
All right, on to the next slide.
Okay, move to the next slide.
Yeah, I hope that answers Selvi's questions, and on to the next slides.
Okay, if you, let's say you have already decided which company that you're joining, you know the expectation and all that, I would suggest that you have heard about Stephen Covey. He's famous with the book 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, or one of the habits is begin with the end in mind. What he meant is that when you first start something, you should know what the end result should be. And that's the reason I'm sharing with you your end game. Okay, what you can do is to, if you find this something that makes sense to you, I would suggest that you copy this as one of your checklists. Okay, and that checklist should be revisited as often as possible while you are doing internship. Okay, what I meant is that first, before you even start, you should plan. Okay, let me give you the example before I elaborate on the checklist further. Okay, first of all, you have to make sure that at the end of the 3 months or 6 months, you will experience real work challenges. Okay, don't run away from it. Don't say that no, I'm an intern, I just want to learn something, and then this is too much for me to bear. I cannot stand in front of people and things like that. Okay, if that is the real work challenge for something that you intend to do in the future, this is the time for you to learn. Because as I said earlier, internship is the opportunity for you to make as many mistakes as you want. Because in order for you to gain experience, you have to make mistakes. Okay, you cannot gain experience by being successful all the way. Okay, so this is your opportunity. Make sure, ask yourself, is whatever I'm doing now, is the real work challenge that I'm experiencing? Okay, have that as a checkbox. If you check that one, okay, you move to the next one. This is something that you need to understand, but you cannot be doing it too obviously, which is to create your network. Okay, when I mention network, okay, this at 3 levels. First, of course, if you want to be part of the organization at a later stage, you need the decision makers to know you. Okay, I'm not asking you to go and offer the MD or the CEO of the company a teh tarik session, sitting down with him and all that. I don't think you can get the opportunity. Maybe you can. If you can, don't run away from it. But then make sure, when I say create a network, make sure that you are being recognized or you are known by people at that level. The HR managers, the line managers of the department that you wanted to be in, all the decision makers who will eventually make a decision whether to hire you or not at a later stage. Be visible to these people. That's how you create a network. You may join them on LinkedIn. They may not even accept your invitation. Okay, but again, try. Okay, it can be like the CEO may say, "Oh, so far this is the only intern who has invited me to be his LinkedIn network." Be someone memorable. Be someone visible. Okay, so that's how you create network at the decision-making level. And then you also have to look at your future peers. Either someone who, when I say peers, it will be someone about the same level. Okay, if let's say, for example, if you're an engineer, you may want to know an existing engineer who's very junior. Okay, let's say if you were to join that company in 2 years' time, he will still be an engineer, but maybe slightly senior than you, but still your peers. Okay, or someone who maybe not from the same. I know that last time when I was in Technic, we have interns from UTP, UTM, UM for engineering. Again, as I see, the UTP guys will be sitting together with UTP, and UM will be, because they may be dorm mates or they may be course-mates earlier on. But then when you are in internship, this is your opportunity for you to know people from other universities. Okay, because in the end, you may be colleagues later on. Okay, and also another logical explanation is that if I have, let's say, 10 interns from UTP, I may not select all 10. I may only select 3. Okay, so your schoolmates are actually your competitors. So you need to go and make friends with people from other schools as well. okay? Because they may not really be your direct competitor. So this is creating your network for your future. And even if you don't work together, both of you, the guy that you created the network with, join another company, you join a different company, okay? It will be quite useful in the future for you to actually know someone, okay? In work life, okay, knowing someone is important, not just for you to get a cable lah, bodek masuk kerja and all that. Sometimes it helps when you're stuck with your work, you can pick up a phone and call your friend who may have gone through the same problem before, and they can help you, okay? And then the third one is learn a skill, any skill at all, even if the skill is making sure that you can, for example, make a photostat copy from A3 to A4 back to back from a book. Okay, that may be a skill that no one else has, but you learn a skill. If you need to do photocopying, make sure you know everything about photocopying. Okay, one day maybe the CEO wanted to print or photocopy something very quickly, and you are there to actually help him, and no one else can actually do. So learn a skill, and the skill can be very related or relevant to your work. It can be something different. Okay, when I did, I always look my part-time jobs as also as internship. No, I have worked as a waiter, bartender, banquet person to just get money, and then being a cashier. But all this give me a people skill. It gives me some ability to lead after a while. Okay, so learn a skill. So this is supposed to be one of the checkbox in your list, where before you end your internship, you have to do this. Okay, and then again, same as the question just now. Before you make the decision to join the company for internship, it has to match with your passion. That's what I feel. But at the same time, while you're doing internship, you also can find your passion. Okay, you can also make a decision that this is actually not for me. I don't know how many of you took the course in HR because you want to be an HR manager one day? Or is this the easiest course to get accepted to MSU? Okay, I think I don't get really the answer, but looking at the faces, some of you may be telling me that this is not your first choice course. Okay,
Yeah.
but you are but you are now towards the end of your
Yes,
education.
sir.
Okay, find your passion. Even in HR management, okay, you can be working for, let's say, an NGO, if that is what you want. You can be working with a company that is embarking into the green or new energy. Okay, you can be joining government agencies because you wanted it to be that. So HR can be okay. I have no HR background when I joined, but along the way I learned. And I wish at the time where I was in university, there is a course like you all are getting now, which we don't have at that point. No, you have to either take business administration or anything related to business. At that point, there are some branch out of insurance, transportation, logistics, and so on, but not HR. Okay, but I think you all are fortunate to be in the HR program. But again, don't let it be something that spoils your mood throughout your career. You are forced to become an HR manager because your qualification is in HR, and you heard Badrol say one day that you should be an HR manager. Okay, but then you go to work every day, hating dealing with people, making decisions, and so on. And there is where you can see that there are so many HR managers around who are so moody, who makes decisions without thinking about the people, who does not care about whether his decision is going to impact a lot of people, who love looking for people's faults instead of working on the strengths of the employees. So sometimes if you don't have the passion from the beginning, you will have problems throughout your career. So during this internship period, find your passion, try it out, see whether what you thought would be your passion may not be the one. Okay, what I thought that I like to be in the hotel industry actually is in HR industry. So these are the things that you can achieve when you go for your internship. So have that in one of your checkbox. And then again, gain knowledge is understood. Okay, you go for internship, you want to gain knowledge, but gain inside knowledge of that particular companies that someone who does not be part of the organization won't know. Okay, because that's going to be an advantage to you at a later stage. Okay, get to know the culture of the company, get to know what are the differentiator or the business model of the company which is making it so successful. So you gain the inside knowledge. That helps a lot. And then the next one would be to assess your suitability in the company or in the industry. You may think that you want to join, I don't know, a company like Astro, Google, and things like that. But after your internship or during your internship, you should start revisiting this and see, am I suitable to be in this company? Either do I like this company or do I have to force the company to like me? Okay, if there is a mismatch, you're not suitable, maybe it's time for you to start changing your strategy and look for a different industry or different company. But you can do that while you are within that company, test the market. Okay, and then again, all of these things, when you are revisiting your checklist, keep asking yourself, am I able to use whatever that I'm doing today for my future advantage? Okay, use your experience for your future. Okay, don't just do it and forget about it and not making it valuable for you in the future. So I think that will be your end game, I call it. And it is wise for you. You may decide to do it or not to do it. Okay, to put it in writing, because any objective has to be written in order for it to be effective. Okay, put it in writing and start checking the box throughout your days while you are doing your internship, because that helps you to either change your direction or maybe change your objective. Am I making sense of this end game? Okay.
Yes, sir.
sir. Yes, sir. Hopefully they will respond in the chat box also, as well.
Okay. I feel as
Respond, guys. Okay.
I feel as if I'm in the military when people are saying yes sir to me every day. Huh? Yes, it's enough. Okay,
Sorry,
that's okay, and don't be sorry. Okay, you can move to the next page.
Alright, moving on
Yeah.
to the next slide. Alright.
Okay, this is just a tip. It's not official. This is just what I gather from my discussion with interns whom I perceived to be successful in their internship. Okay, what I did was to call them back afterwards, try to keep them close, just in future I need to hire them, at least know we were in close contact and easier for me to attract the person to join. So what I did was to actually talk to them, and I think what I gather from the discussion is that, number one, whenever you start your internship, throw away this mentality, I'm just an intern. Okay, same goes to when you're starting your in a new company, when you are introducing yourself to the boss, to the CEO and all that. Don't say I'm just an engineer, I'm just a trainee and all that. throw away the word just, okay? Use the word, I'm the intern who's reporting to Badrol, and we are going to do this at the end of my internship period. Okay, I'm going to achieve this. So you have to have that authority even if you are an intern. Okay, because that is psychological. The moment you say, oh, I'm just an intern, then you are not going to give your 100%. Okay, and people are not going to expect 100% from you. They may expect 100% or more from other interns. So is the mentality. Yeah, agree. No, is the psychologically you have to tell yourself you're not just an intern, you are the intern in that particular company, and if they don't hire you as the intern, they are short of something. Okay, you are there to meet certain purpose in the organization, so you have to have that. Okay, and then I think the first thing that you should do is start to identify a reliable person you can talk to, and I will elaborate further why this is important. Okay, within the company, sometimes you will have someone with a mother figure, a big brother, or someone that a lot of people are looking up to, or worse come to worse, if you don't have anyone within the organization, someone who understands the industry, maybe your family, your cousin or whoever who knows the industry or the work related to what you're doing. And worst come to worst, you go back to your lecturers or to your counselors and so on. But always have a reliable person that you can talk to at any time. Okay, that means if you have any problems that you cannot raise anywhere else, this will be the person that you go to. Okay, identify that person, and it is important for you. I'll explain to you why. And then always show that you are value adding. Your value is good for the organization. Okay, and then just now I shared with you the expectation of the company. You should clarify those expectations. Okay, don't assume this is what all companies are expecting from you. If you hear something from the managers, the heads of departments, saying that, okay, this is what I want from my interns, if you are not sure, clarify. Okay, that is your survival tips, because you do not want to be at the end of your internship program and suddenly nothing much you can do to change. Okay, so clarify from the beginning or throughout your internship program. And then another thing that I just added here is equip yourself with the latest know-how in the new normal, because sometimes I don't know, are you all expected to be physically in the office during your internship, or you have to be working from home, or you have to be doing something else? I don't know. Okay, so make sure you know how to use Google Meet. Now, of course, you know, but are you aware of other things like Zoom, Teams, and so on? Okay, I don't use Google Meet very much. So yesterday I quickly called Gia and say, we better try, because I don't know how it works. Internally, we normally use Teams because that's how we interact in the company. And then if we have something external, usually I'll be using Zoom. So this is new, but again, for you, you need to understand, you may not have to do photostat assignment anymore because you're not in the office. Okay, you may not have to prepare coffee, but there may be something that you have to do with this new normal. Understanding that is very important. So learn as much as you can, find out as much as you can. Things are evolving, things are dynamic with COVID-19. So equip yourself with everything that you need to know and understand. Okay, so this, I would say these are the 5 survival tips. There are more, but having this will help you to navigate your way during the internship program. Okay, next one.
On to the next slide.
Okay. I think someone mentioned to me earlier on about the bullying and all that. Okay, but
Yeah.
first of all, let me just go one by one. And this is something that you should be aware of, yeah? Do we have until exactly 12 o'clock to stop?
No, it's not 12 o'clock exactly. It's just estimated.
It's not 5 o'clock also, huh? Because I
Getting
think
all
whatever
the
you
day.
had for breakfast is digested already. Now it's time for lunch, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And I hope one of the questions later would not be what time can we stop for lunch.
We'll avoid the questions.
Okay. I think this is one of the last one, or maybe the last one. Okay. I think first thing that you should be aware of is that when you join an organization, it's not always positive. Okay, even though nowadays in this pandemic, positive is not good because you don't want to be tested positive, right? You always want to be tested negative. But okay, in an organization, when you have a negative influence, okay, what you should do is to, I expect everyone to be able to identify what is bad and what is good. Okay, and if it is bad, I give you an example. Usually, when you join, you want to be accepted in the team, but sometimes the way people feel to be accepted is that you have to follow the crowd. Okay, and if the crowd is the one which is having disciplinary issues, again, as I mentioned, the expectation is attendance and all that. Differentiate yourself from that crowd. Okay, you can still be part of the team, but you does not have to pick up all the bad vibes or the negative influence. All right. Okay, that is on discipline. There are also times where your seniors during the internship will tell you, okay, actually according to the company procedure, you have to do A, B, C, and D. But usually we will do A, C, and D. We can drop D, no problem. No one get caught doing this and things like that. So those are also negative influence that you may not outright say to the person, oh, you are a negative influence, but you may want to do it in the diplomatic way and try to find out, okay, what would be the implication if I were to drop one process, or what would be, the management. What would the management feel if they know that we fail to meet certain steps in our process? Ask those questions. Sometimes you may make them realize that whatever that they do is wrong, or you get a very straight answer. Never mind, you won't get caught, but we still do it anyway. Things like that should be a red flag to you in order for you to know this is not something that I would want to follow. And being an intern, you can always have the excuse that, oh, I'm an intern. The books say I have to follow A, B, C, and D, so that's what I'm doing. Maybe I should put in more effort, put in more hours to actually do things faster and things like that. But don't follow the bad habits of making shortcuts and all that. As an intern, if you start on the wrong footing, going forward, like in the bank, they say that if today they allow you to just take RM1 from the till, tomorrow you can take 1 million ringgit. So don't start having those bad influence. You may identify them. You may not be able to stop them from doing it, but you yourself refrain. Okay, and then there are also habits outside the work hours. Like people like to lepak at the mama. That's not a bad habit, I think. Is team building maybe, but then if the lepak goes to after midnight and it's affecting your attendance the next day and so on, that is a bad habit that you should avoid. Okay, even though it means that you are not following the crowd. All right. There are times that you may want to report this behavior, but I think sometimes there are certain negative influence that is outside your jurisdiction and you do not want to rock the boat. You are there only for 3 months or 6 months and nothing much you can do to change. But if it is something very serious, then my advice is that for you to report. Otherwise, you just stay away from it. Okay, that's the first issue or dilemma that most interns would be facing. And then second one would be bullying and harassment. Okay, Is there any bullying issue in MSU for juniors, during orientation and all that?
No, everything is good.
I expected everything is good answer, but you never know. Behind the scene, there may be some bullying in the hostel. But okay, for you at the student level, you may look at bullying as more physical, where people are being asked to do certain things and wear certain clothes that they do not want to and things like that, and those are bullying. But then when you move to the work environment, okay, bullying can also be mentally done. Okay, people can start saying names about you, telling you that you're stupid and you are useless. So they may be laughing at your answers and things like that. And for an organization, that is a bullying culture that we want to avoid. Okay, and you have to start identifying that. Usually during orientation and all that, initiation process and things like that, people normally say that, in order for you to toughen up as a student, you have to do this. Last time when we were a student, we also went through this same process and all that. But in an organization, sometimes whatever stigma that you had during that point of time may be carried all the way throughout your career. So we don't tolerate bullying in our organization as far as MMHE or even in my previous organization. And the company is very serious in handling bullying issue, either on interns or even new employees. Okay, so you need to really understand. I don't know whether identifying elements of bullying and harassment is part of your subjects that you learn in school. You may not, okay, but I would strongly suggest to the lecturers or the school to have this, because sometimes it has gone reported, okay, and people who experience bullying don't even know that they are being bullied. They thought that it's normal, okay. So and sometimes the mental damage is more than the physical damage. So that's why companies nowadays are looking into bullying as a serious matter. So if you believe that you are being bullied, that's why I say it's important for you to have someone that you can speak freely of, someone that you can really trust in talking about this. It may not be really bullying when someone asks you to help them sometimes, but if it becoming you are being targeted and people are being singled out for certain things, that's bullying. Okay, and in my previous organization, the policy of the company puts bullying and harassment in the same policy, because I think those are about the same thing. Sometimes bullying can move up to harassment. Okay, for example, if you're asked to do certain assignments and then your supervisor keep on calling you at home to say, when are you sending it? No, is it being completed? Why are you not updating me on this and things like that? Those are actually workplace harassment. Okay, even though it is a supervisor's role to monitor the progress of his or her employee, but contacting people at odd hours are actually harassment, and it's not acceptable. I don't know whether you know, in France, it is actually an offense under the law if you contact your employee after office hour. Okay, you may want to just Google that and find out. So calling employees after working hours is not an acceptable practice, and it becomes a legal issue in France. But in Malaysia, you still have people, I still have my MD calling me on a Saturday or at night, but that has to be a very serious matter. If you have a fatality, if you have an accident, at offshore that you have to react and respond to. Of course, I cannot tell my boss, hey, call me after 8 tomorrow morning. No, but that also comes together with the size of your accountability. Okay, you cannot be calling an intern just to pull out a report of an accident while you are sleeping at night. So you have, I mean, managers are being given trainings and techniques to handle this, but then there are still people who have this mentality of, you are an intern, you belong to me for the next 6 months. I can ask you to do anything. So it is important that you are able to identify the problem and able to highlight the problem to the person who may be able to help you. Okay, and harassment, particularly sexual harassment, is actually a big issue in companies. Okay, if you do surveys, if the survey is being answered by the management, it's almost zero. Because the management is saying that, oh no, I don't have any problem. But if you do unofficial survey at the grassroots level, you will find an alarming rate of increase. Number one, most likely because more people are more aware of what is sexual harassment, and more examples now are being cited in the media. But at the same time, I think I have had experience investigating a particular person who has been sexually harassing interns on a systematic manner. That means that person has been targeting the interns from the selection process, calling them on an individual basis. This guy is a head of department, a very senior engineering expert. Okay, don't try to guess which company that I was from before. Okay, but this person who has family on his own keep on going through the candidates, calling them to make sure that they thought that it is a personal favor that he's doing for them to accept the students as an intern. And the moment the person comes in, he will start to make his approaches and moves and all that. I do not want to share here because the information that we get is very, very vivid. But I think this is something, okay, at the end of the investigation and during the investigation, we asked, the investigators asked the victims, why didn't you report? They said, oh, I'm just an intern. I'm afraid that, okay, I'm the one who's at fault and things like that, no? And he's a very big shot in the company, if who is going to believe me if I go forward and complains, I don't know whether HR is going to listen to me or not. Things like that is always the feedback that we get. But what we want everyone to understand is that if you are the victim, you have to report. And if you are the witness, you also have to report. Okay, because sometimes the victim does not have the strength to report for whatever reason. One of the case, that person, again, I'm sure any one of you, if you are in that situation, you'll feel that this person is going to be the one who is going to confirm or sorry, not confirm, but assess your performance during the internship period. You have to please the person. Okay, I think that's fall back into the question asked just now. No? How do you handle that? And that is very important. That's why it's very important. It has to work both ways. From the HR perspective, we have to really train, always train our HR employees from the managers to the clerical level, that you have to start being able to accommodate this. That means when someone were to come to you and approach, you should be able to know how to deal with it. And at the same time, either a new employee or a trainee or an intern who comes in has to also be given the knowledge and the awareness that this is not something that the company accepted. Okay, So that's on the bullying and harassment. Do your part. As I said, if you're a victim, you report. If you're a witness, also you must report. And worse, you do not participate in this lah. Don't become a bully because just one intern is being singled out. You are another intern. You do not want to be bullied yourself. You start to support that practice, you know, and don't participate in harassment as well. So you need to understand your role as a friend. If you see your friend is being either bullied or harassed. Is that clear in this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the third issues and dilemma would be the ethical issue. This is more serious. For example, if you look at instances of bribery, corruption, criminal breach of trust, and then some misconduct that are not being disclosed and all that, you akan serba salah because you are just an intern. Okay, that kind of mentality is still there. But you see, even the bosses are doing that. What can you do? You know, most companies now have what they call a whistleblower program, where anyone can actually complain or report about certain irregularities that they see. So if you do have that program in the company that you are, just feel free to report because that helps the company, that helps the community and the country. So we cannot allow ethical and integrity issue to be conducted in companies without being reported. So I would say these are the issues. If you have any other issues or dilemma that is in your mind now, feel free to ask.
I'm sure, yeah, if anyone wants to ask a question. But just to inform you, sir, there's a student and lecturer who have classes at 12. So
Okay.
don't be alarmed if the participants getting lower and lower.
Not because something I said just now, right?
No.
No.
Okay.
Here's a question from Claire. All right. She asked, I'm not sure if we are asked this type of question when we want to apply for an internship, but how do we answer if they're asked about giving allowance? How do we answer without sounding that we're being pushy about it?
Okay, I think this is very difficult because beggars cannot be choosers. in that sense, I'm not saying that. In that sense, I'm not saying that you are beggars, but then if let's say you have certain companies that you wanted to join, usually a proper company would immediately notify you that okay, this internship program will come with an allowance and so on. And I agree with you that it's not appropriate for you to ask, okay, how much are you paying me if I go and learn from you? Okay, but what you can do instead of asking outright, I think this is where the HEP in the unit, counseling unit or career counseling or whatever in the university or college can help by tabulating all those information that you know and making it available to all the students. I personally won't like it if you ask, first question is how much are you paying me? Okay, that is number one. Number two, never ever negotiate. If let's say the company is paying 300, there is a reason for them to decide on 300. Don't say that, hey, how come your competitor is paying 500 and you're paying 3, Don't do that because I'm sure the company will not accept you. I know of a big company that pays a very minimal amount because they provide other things, other perks like medical benefits, insurance, and so on. So try to ask about holistic benefits that you get. Even when I was in Technique last time, we brought people from UTP. They were given some accommodation and all that. So even if you're not paid a good allowance like other companies, you may save on the accommodation. So I think a lot of people, I know that it is important for you to survive. No, you cannot be working for free. Understand? No, but you also have to understand that some companies may not be, it's not their intention not to pay, but it falls back to their capacity to actually pay. Okay, some companies can pay 300. Some companies, like my previous company in Sapura, they pay 600 for diploma and I think 800 to 1,000 for degree. So that's quite lucrative. Huh? It's as if you are working. If you get 1,000, it's just 200 below the minimum pay. But then there are some companies who pays less but provide other things. So again, as a conclusion, I don't advise you to ask about that because that will come. And I have experience also, some companies that did not promise anything, but in the end, they paid as if the person is working at the clerical level because they appreciate whatever contribution that the interns actually put in. So you have to show yourself. This is part of the things that I said, not calculating. I know some not like the answer that you should not be asking and negotiating, but I think that's the fact of life.
Yeah, true. That is also the best answer for.
Yep.
Okay, anything else?
We can move on.
I think I don't have any more slides after this, right?
Just your closing, I think.
This photo, okay. This is something interesting. I don't know whether you have seen it on WhatsApp, Twitter, whatever. Okay, but you see that actually in the space of just barely 1 decade, 2 jobs, at least in this picture, is being made redundant. Okay, the 2 jobs are the cameraman and also the pilot. With the invention of drones. 3 years ago, I did not believe that drone would be a part of our operations and our life, because I think this is more like how are you going to control these things and all that. But recently, I've been given a demonstration on how drones can be used to monitor the progress of our construction site and updating the information to a certain database where you can actually see on monitor and the drones. There are so many drones around and it doesn't clash with each other because of course they know each other. They try to avoid and all that. So drone is the technology going forward. And I don't know whether you all seen. I've seen it with my own eyes. I can't remember, was it Merdeka last year? Okay, where there was some instead of having fireworks, they have these drones going around. And at first I cannot believe it. I'm an old man, so I thought that there must be something else. But it was actually drones, and it moves around so seamlessly without hitting each other. So I think that will be the technology going forward. But one thing that I just want to share is that do you think that in this picture with the existing of this drone, those 2 guys are actually out of job? Just to give you a quick answer, they are not out of job. It's just that their job will be different. The cameraman can be a creative director and editing whatever picture, because I don't think the drones can do editing, or the AI, at least for the time being, cannot do creative editing. And I think the helicopter pilot can be also a drone pilot, maybe not 1 drone, but commanding like a group of 50 drones. So work are being enriched. Okay, you don't lose your job to technology, but the work are being enriched. But that shouldn't stop you when it comes to, I'd like to link to the internship. I know that actually, do you know that whatever you learn in school today has been obsolete? Either the engineering aspect or the theoretical aspect or the study that was done that you are using it for your final paper and so all those information are actually already obsolete by the time you graduated. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that you have to keep on learning new things. You have to keep on keep up with the technology in order for you to be successful in your career. Okay, don't say that just because there are new technologies, so you cannot learn HR anymore because HR will be replaced by softwares and programs and all that. You can do something else. You can be the programmer. You can be the one who design the whole HR softwares and all that. So having an education is something important. You need to have those education for you to be able to move forward to the next level. Otherwise, people will say that even Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg are dropouts. You don't need a degree for you to be successful. Yeah, but they are dropouts from Harvard. They are dropouts from any community college. So even though they do not have the paper degree, but they do have that education in them in order for them to be a successful businessman. So in your case, if you are not able to do that, you can't afford to drop out. The best you can do is to graduate and make full use of the opportunities of educating yourself for future. All right. Anything else that I can answer?
I think we have a last question for today. Right. Based on your experience as the HR, what is the hardest issue that for you to handle so far?
Okay. Being an HR person, especially at my level, I can actually decide on a person's job. Okay, whether to hire a person or not to hire a person, or whether to dismiss a person who is working with us. And I have been I'm not sure whether you know my background fully, but my inclination in HR is on industrial relations, the legal part of HR. So I'm the guy that companies look for when they wanted to do reorganization, retrench, letting people go through certain process or whatever. Okay, the technical part of letting people go is easy. Okay, but to make the final decision, to be the person who actually decide whether the person goes or stays, is the most difficult one, because you are not just looking at a person and a character and a job. Okay, you have to also think about the livelihood of that person, the livelihood of the family of that person, and the impact that your decision to the stakeholders that you don't even know sometimes. Okay, for example, I give you one example. We thought that when we are retrenching people in my previous company, we should be retrenching someone who is single rather than someone who's married or with family. The logic is that the single guy has no family. Okay, but what we fail to understand is that even though it's not declared in their income tax form or in their employee database, there are employees who are actually taking care of their parents. Okay, there are employees who are taking care of the whole family of the wife. The brothers and sisters, in-law, and all that. Because these are all dependents, but these dependents are not official dependents in our database. So the moment you look at the database, you can see that these people have zero dependents. When you register for insurance, income tax, and so on, you declare as zero dependents. What you fail to understand is sometimes they may have like 7, 8 more people depending on them in order for them, and they really need the job. So we made some high-level decision, and I only realized when I actually met that person, because there several of them brought the case to court. Okay, so there is a process of conciliation meeting at the Industrial Relations Department before the case is being referred to court. So when I actually talked to them, then only I realized that actually their dependents are more, and that made me realize whatever decision that you make is not as easy as it's not a science. You have to dig several layers down in order for you to really understand the impact of your decision, and this impacts a person's livelihood. But I was lucky not to have a situation where someone that I terminated, dismissed, or retrenched has committed suicide like the recent case. I'm not sure whether you are aware of the case in Ipoh, where a decision was made to suspend a manager who is already in his late 40s or 50s, and that decision has gone to his head. He decided to actually crash his car into the company's lab, and then he walked out and walk in front of a moving trailer. Okay, I would say that if I were in the position of the person responsible of letting the person go or suspending that particular person, that would be the most difficult decision for me.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. That's all right. Okay.
Thank you.
Memandangkan masa mencemburui kita. Okay, so I think most students are having classes, including Miss DK also afterwards, and would like to take this time to say thank you to Sir Badrol for being with us from the morning until we pass the lunchtime. Okay, so it's a very incredible and awesome advices from you, sir. As you all know, Gia and most of the students here are the so-called the seniors. They are finishing soon, maybe around next semester. So I hope we can invite you some days for the juniors as well, when we finally step up into our days as a senior. And thank you so much, sir, once again, and all the participants for joining us. Izinkan saya mengakhiri kita punya event.
Can I just add something? I forgot to add just now. I think my name is not difficult. It's Badrol-Izam. You can always look for me in either LinkedIn, Facebook or Twitter. I think someone found me through Facebook. But I think if you are in Facebook, I have more friends in one particular group of Nasi Kandar Hunter.
Oh, that sounds so delicious.
But I would want to have more network in the HR fraternity. So even though you are an HR students, but you are welcome to join me in LinkedIn or any other avenues that you can find my name. Look for Badrol-Izam. I don't normally use any other names. Okay, so if you find Badrol-Izam, usually it will be me. So connect with me. Inshallah, I will be accepting your invitation, because I don't know all of you at the same time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope you are not dozing off.
Just now, izinkan saya habiskan kita punya event secara resmi ya dengan kalau ada sumur di ladang, bolehlah saya menumpang mandi. Kalau ada umur yang panjang, bolehlah kita berjumpa lagi. Sekali lagi terima kasih dan juga Pak.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye. See you again. Bye.
See you again. Thank you, sir.